August 15th, 29 BC. The sun hangs heavy over Rome, a brutal, blinding disk of white heat. The Via Sacra is choked with dust and the collective breath of 100,000 people. They have been waiting for this. They have been promised the end of Egypt, the death of a myth, and the spectacle of a queen who defied the world. But as the rhythmic clanking of chains bites into the silence of the crowd, the air shifts. The triumph is not delivering the victory they expected. It is delivering something else entirely. It is delivering a 10-year-old girl, eyes locked on the horizon, walking in the shadow of a woman who is already dead. This is not the end of a war. This is the beginning of a haunting. The heat is a physical presence. It presses against the skin, thick with the scent of incense and hot, sweating marble. August in Rome is never kind, but today it is predatory. The procession route is a canyon of stone, flanked by citizens who have stood since before dawn, their throats parched, their eyes hungry for the spoils of the Nile. Gold chains. That is the first thing you see if you are standing close enough to the pavement. They are heavy, forged with a craftsman's precision to ensure that even the smallest wrist feels the gravity of its own loss. Behind a creaking wagon, a girl walks. She does not look at the crowd. She does not look at the soldiers who flank her with rhythmic, heavy boots. She looks at the path ahead, her expression a mask of porcelain calm that belies the fire behind her eyes. Her name is Cleopatra Selene. She is 10 years old, a child born of pharaohs and conquerors, now reduced to the status of a trophy in a parade of ghosts. She is dressed as the moon, a shimmering, ethereal costume that catches the harsh Roman light and turns it into a cruel mockery of her station. Beside her, her twin brother, Alexander Helios, walks in the regalia of the sun. They are celestial beings grounded in the grit of the Via Sacra, tethered to one another by the shared weight of their inheritance. Behind them, on a platform that rolls with an agonizing, intermittent squeak, rests the effigy. It is a wax portrait of their mother, Cleopatra VII. The artist has captured her with terrifying accuracy. She is reclined on a couch, a pose of deliberate, regal defiance. Painted asps, the symbols of her divinity, her power, and her final choice, are coiled at her arm and breast. It is a masterpiece of Roman propaganda. It tells the story Octavian wants the world to believe, that the Egyptian queen is a relic, a silent, cooling doll that can be moved and displayed at the whim of the new master of the world. The crowd is a tide. It rises and falls, cheering for the Roman banners, jeering for the defeated, roaring for the glory of the empire. But there is a glitch in the spectacle. As the wagon passes, the voices start to falter. The roar becomes a ripple, and the ripple becomes an uneasy silence. They were told to expect a parade of captives, shamed, weeping, broken soldiers. Instead, they find themselves looking into the eyes of a child. The sight of the girl in chains, walking just paces away from the static, dead gaze of her mother's effigy, cuts through the triumphal fervor. It is an image that defies the narrative of Rome. It is intimate, it is wrong, and it is impossible to look away from. The girl does not cry. She is the daughter of the last pharaoh, and she has learned the most dangerous lesson of all, that if you cannot change the path you are on, you can at least choose how you walk it. Who was forced to walk in the moonlight? A. Cleopatra Selene, correct. B. The Roman Emperor. C. A fallen general. D. A captured spy. Stay with us till the end for valuable insights. Like, subscribe, and share to support the channel. The man responsible for this silence rides at the very front of the procession. Octavian, soon to be Augustus, sits in a chariot pulled by 4 white horses. He is dressed as Jupiter, the king of the gods, his face composed into a mask of calculated serenity. He has engineered this day to be the closing chapter of a long, bloody book. To him, the triumph is not just a party, it is a tool. It is an instrument of state. He had wanted the Queen of Egypt to walk this route herself. He had wanted the citizens of Rome to see her humiliation, to watch the woman who had captivated two of their greatest generals being led like a stray animal through the streets. But she had denied him that final satisfaction. She had died in a room in Alexandria, a choice that turned his victory into a logistical problem. He had wanted her alive to display, instead, he got a wax statue and 3 children. Octavian's gaze is fixed on the horizon, but he hears the change in the crowd. He is a man who measures the temperature of the Roman mob with the precision of a jeweler. He knows that pity is a dangerous emotion in the middle of a celebration. Pity humanizes the enemy. Pity makes the voters start to wonder if the monster they were told to fear was perhaps just a mother, and if the children in chains are not trophies, but victims. He does not turn his head. He does not slow the horses. He keeps the procession moving, his mind already working on the next phase of his design. The logic of the Conqueror is simple, the line of Julius Caesar must be absolute. There can be no rivals, no alternative claims to the power of the world. The children are merely pieces on a board, and today, they are serving their purpose. They are proving that the Egyptian dynasty has been completely dismantled. As the chariot crests the slight rise of the road, the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus looms ahead. It is the destination, the place where the gods of Rome will be asked to validate the slaughter. Octavian's hands tighten on the reins. He is not just burying a kingdom, he is rewriting history. By leading the children of the last pharaoh to this specific temple, he is placing them at the feet of the Roman gods, declaring that even the descendants of the stars now bow to the capital. Behind him, the girl in the moon dress continues her march. She knows nothing of Roman politics, of the Senate, or of the calculated cruelty of her captor. She only knows the rhythm of her own feet against the stones and the heavy, metallic bite of the chains around her wrists. She is 10 years old, and she is the last living remnant of 3 centuries of power. She is the embodiment of everything Rome fears, and everything Rome has decided it will own. The procession grinds to a halt at the foot of the Capitol Hill. The air here is different. It is thick with the scent of burning fat from the altars and the sharp, metallic tang of cold steel. The temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus looms above like a mountain of marble, a fortress of divine authority designed to shrink the spirit of anyone who dares look up at it. This is the end of the road. By the brutal customs of Roman tradition, this is where the cycle of the triumph usually concludes in blood. The enemies of Rome are not just paraded, they are erased. The Tullianum, the prison hidden beneath the earth, a place of suffocating darkness and eternal damp, is only a short walk from here. It is the waiting room for the strangled. History is littered with the names of those who were dragged from the triumph and fed into that hole: Vercingetorix, the leader of the Gauls; Jugurtha, the Numidian king who had fought Rome for years. Cleopatra Selene stops. The motion of the crowd ripples back, a series of jolts that travel through the column of soldiers and onlookers. For a moment, the world seems to hold its breath. The silence is profound, absolute. The girl stands amidst the noise and the dust, her eyes fixed on the entrance to the prison. She knows the stories. Even at 10, a child in the house of the Ptolemies is raised on the gravity of life and death. She has seen her mother's image carried through the streets, she has seen the asps on the wax effigy. She expects the darkness to open now. She expects the chains to be tightened, not loosened. Her brother, Alexander Helios, stands stiffly beside her. His sun costume is covered in the grime of the journey, but he does not waver. The siblings are a unit. They are the only things left of an empire that once spanned the deserts and the seas. The guards around them shift. Their hands move to the hilts of their swords, the standardized, short blades of the Roman legions. The crowd near the temple entrance stops cheering entirely. They wait for the order. They wait for the spectacle of the end. If Octavian gives the nod, the twins will be led into the belly of the earth, and the line of the pharaohs will be extinguished in the dark. But the nod does not come. Octavian sits in his chariot, his back to the children, his eyes focused on the soaring columns of the temple. He is not a man of impulsive cruelty, he is a man of calculated utility. He has calculated that a dead princess is a memory, but a living, captive princess is a weapon. He looks at the temple, then back toward the city. The order he gives is not the one the executioner expected. The children are not dragged toward the prison. Instead, the procession turns. It begins to move away from the pit, away from the darkness, and up the winding path of the Palatine hill. The guards close in, but their pace is different now, no longer the heavy stride of the jailer, but the measured step of the escort. Selene feels the sudden, confusing shift in momentum. She is not dying today. She is being repurposed. The transition from the humiliation of the Via Sacra to the silence of the Palatine hill is disorienting. The shouts of the crowd are muffled now, replaced by the rustle of expensive fabrics and the muted whispers of the Roman elite. They are being led to the house of Octavia, the sister of the man who destroyed their world. It is a house built on the intersection of power and personal tragedy. Octavia is more than just a foster mother to these children, she is a ghost from their father's past. She was the woman Antony abandoned, the wife he discarded for the allure of the East and the fire of Cleopatra. To bring the children of the woman who destroyed your marriage into your own home is a move of such cold, calculated brilliance that only a man like Octavian could conceive of it. He is not just keeping them, he is re-educating them. He is placing them in a living monument to their own defeat. The household is a crowded, complex web of lineages. There are Octavia's children from her first marriage, the children she bore for Antony, and now, the stray remnants of the Egyptian court. Selene and Alexander are curiosities here. They are the living evidence of a war that has already been won. They walk through marble halls that are cool to the touch, a stark contrast to the scorched, dusty palace they left behind in Alexandria. Everything here is orderly. Everything has its place. Their old tutors, their personal slaves, the faces that knew their names since birth, they are all gone, replaced by Roman servants who speak a language that tastes like iron and discipline. The diadem Selene wore in Alexandria, the one her mother placed on her head during the extravagant donations of 34 BC, is no longer a crown. It is a piece of inventory in the accounts of the empire. She watches the way the Romans move. She watches how they talk about her when they think she cannot hear. They treat her like a prize bird in a gilded cage, something beautiful to look at, something that must be kept, but something that will never be allowed to fly. But in the quiet hours of the night, when the house is still and the Roman guards are nodding at their posts, Selene does not sleep. She stands by the window and looks out over the city that took everything from her. She is 10, but she is beginning to see the shape of her cage. And she is beginning to understand that if she is to survive, she must become as cold and as sharp as the people who now own her life. In the house on the Palatine, the years begin to blur. The sharpness of the trauma is slowly dulled by the grind of daily routine. Selene and Alexander are no longer curiosities, they are students. Their education is not just in literature or philosophy, but in the subtle, deadly art of Roman survival. They learn the language of the forum, the intricate hierarchies of the Senate, and the way power is bartered in the backrooms of the city. Octavia is a constant presence. She is not cruel, which makes her presence even more difficult to bear. She is dignified, firm, and entirely focused on turning these foreign children into Romans. She feeds them the same grain, trains them in the same manners, and expects the same loyalty to the state. It is a slow, methodical erasure. Every day, the Egyptian girl is pushed further away, and the Roman ward is pulled closer. But Selene is a creature of a different lineage. While she learns to speak their Latin and wear their stola, she keeps her own memories locked away in a part of her mind no one else can touch. She remembers the smell of the Nile after the flooding. She remembers the way the light hit the stone in Alexandria when she was crowned queen of Cyrenaica and Libya. She remembers the diadem that still fits, even if it is currently tucked away in a trunk, gathering dust. Her brother, Alexander, begins to fade. The pressure of living in the shadow of a destroyed empire, the constant oversight of their captors, and the lack of a true home take their toll. He is a boy who carries the weight of a sun that has already set. He grows quiet, withdrawn, and eventually, the records of the house stop mentioning him with the same frequency. The Roman silence is a powerful tool, it is how they erase those they no longer find useful. Selene notices. She sees the way the guards look at her brother with a mix of pity and impatience. She realizes that she is the only one left who remembers the truth of who they are. She begins to understand why Octavian let them live. She is not just a child, she is a political asset, a piece of leverage that can be deployed at the right moment. She is waiting for that moment. She is learning exactly how the machine that crushed her family works, so that one day, she might be the one to decide how it stops. By the year 25 BC, the house on the Palatine feels less like a home and more like a waiting room for a life that hasn't started yet. Selene is 15 now. The child who walked the Via Sacra in chains has vanished, replaced by a young woman with a gaze that unnerves those who meet it. She has survived the Roman filters that claimed her brother and the slow, suffocating erasure of her identity. She is still here. That, in itself, is the first act of defiance. Augustus, the man who was once Octavian, has made his decision. He has spent years molding her, testing her, and measuring her value. He needs a stable border in the west, a way to anchor the volatile lands of North Africa to the Roman sphere of influence. He has chosen a husband for her, Juba II, a Numidian king who has also been raised in the Roman system, a mirror image of Selene's own existence. They are both captives, both scholars, both royals without kingdoms. The wedding is a masterpiece of imperial theater. It takes place within the imperial household, a calculated merging of bloodlines designed to turn dangerous legacies into obedient tools. They are sent off to Mauretania, to the port of Iol, with the mandate to rule as Rome's proxies. They are meant to be puppets, playing at sovereignty while ensuring the grain and gold flow back to Rome. But as the ship departs, leaving the Italian coast behind, a change happens. Selene steps off the vessel at Iol and looks at the horizon. She does not see a Roman province. She sees a place to begin again. She and Juba rename the city Caesarea, a nod to their benefactor, but the name is a veil. Beneath the Roman architecture, she begins to rebuild. She mints coins. Not in the Roman style, but with the Greek legends of her ancestors. She uses the symbols of the pharaohs, the cobra, the crocodile, the moon, to broadcast a message that travels across the Mediterranean. She is not a Roman client, she is a Ptolemaic queen in exile. She has not forgotten the day of the triumph. She has not forgotten the chains. She has simply waited for the moment when the world stopped watching so closely. The dynasty that was supposed to end in a damp room in Alexandria did not die. It merely moved west. Selene creates a court that draws the brightest minds of the age, a reflection of the Alexandria she was stolen from. She raises her son, names him Ptolemy, and ensures that the name carries the weight of the kingdom that Rome tried to erase. The girl who walked in chains is gone. In her place sits a woman who has outplayed the architects of her own destruction. She lived long enough to build a tomb that would stand for 2,000 years, a stone testament on a hillside that still looks back toward Egypt. She survived the triumph, she survived the cage, and in the end, she made sure the name of her mother's people would never be completely scrubbed from the stone. The triumph had its day, but Selene had the rest of the story. If you enjoy dark untold history, subscribe because we uncover what others won't.